to the Bible Forum, brought to you each and every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern by Alternatives Biblical Counseling and Education. I want you to go to our website, thebibleforum.net. From there, you can access the other three websites that we sponsor. We sponsor a biblical counseling website, trybiblicalcounseling.net. We sponsor a website called livinggodly.net. And then there is a more secular-oriented blog called theviewfromzoar.com. I want you to be a part of all of that and tune in each Sunday evening. The question tonight is, does America need a revival? We have the Boston Bombers. We have the Charleston Monsters. We have the Muslim Butchers. And they illustrate the raw nature of mankind. They illustrate the self-oriented, self-absorbed, unfeeling, unloving, insensitive, godless heart. We have the medical profession killing unborn babies, prescribing powerful drugs that alter people's moods and personalities, reconstructing bodies to reflect how a person feels about themselves. And now we have the medical profession providing the means for people to kill themselves. We have a psychological community viewing the effects of selfism as a mental disorder, drugging people with powerful drugs they really don't understand. Talking to some of these people, in some cases for years, seeking to help them be happy, to be satisfied with how they feel, or to simply keep them talking about themselves ad infinitum at $150 an hour, and that's a 45-minute hour. We have schools embracing every new educational idea that comes down the pike, trying every new technique or practice that might come along, hiring all sorts of people, regardless of that person's moral character and foundation. Hiring these people to spend valuable time with your children each day, imprinting upon them their moral philosophy, their value system, what they consider normal, what they consider acceptable. We have parents afraid to tell children what to do, afraid to tell children what to wear, how to act, how to speak to adults, how to be responsible, not to mention the whole issue of honor and character. And they do this, or they don't do this, for fear of upsetting the child, for fear of being viewed as more bossy or too domineering, at least in the eyes of people who might be paying attention to them. And then we wonder why the world is going proverbially to hell in a handbasket, morally, financially, industrially, socially. America needs a revival, a spiritual revival, but it needs a spiritual revival that begins with you. The strength of every society is its people and the social structures these people create. Self-sacrificing, dedicated people with godly character driving the agenda and working out their lives in terms of personal responsibility, keeping it all together to build something strong and stable and useful and long-lasting. It's why we have always characterized our industrial economic success in terms of what we call the Protestant work ethic. That's not just a clever bunch of words strung together. Well, apparently in the world, all of that is gone. We see it with Greece. We see it with Puerto Rico. We see it with every major nation on the planet. They're all teetering on the cusp, the edge of insolvency on a financial basis. And the United States is trying to see if they can beat others to the poorhouse. And if it weren't for every other nation in the world, we would probably be broke, or nearly so. Why is that? Well, it's because we're self-centered. It's because we are narrow-minded, because we think in terms of us, I, me, we. We look at the world through a self-absorbed emphasis. Narrow-mindedness is not really a way to describe this. Narrow-mindedness is too kind, because this whole thing is really evil. We are acting like children who are unable to curb our natural appetites. We don't want to stop doing something we enjoy doing in order to do something that would be responsible that may not be as enjoyable. Today we are the 2-year-olds. Today we are standing in the middle of the street saying, "Look at me. It's all about me. I am the center of the universe." Where did we get such an idea? Well, we're born with that idea. The Bible calls it our sin nature. The Bible describes it as something that wants what it wants when it wants it, even if we have to take it from somebody else to get it. And all of this breeds a kind of poverty of the mind, a poverty of the soul, of the pocketbook. And it never occurs to us that it's our philosophy that's driving this bus. At least we don't realize it until it's too late. We are now children living the way we want instead of the way we should. What is there in our system with the power to change all of that? And the answer is nothing. Nothing except a spiritual revival. We call it salvation. Corporately, we call it a revolution, not a rebellion, but a purposeful revolving out of a disastrous social system into one that's more responsible and one that has greater opportunity. America did that once. It's called 1776, but it did not last. And I'm just wondering if we have what it takes to do that sort of thing again. Not the war part, but the courage to vote for adults instead of children. The courage to curb our own appetites in favor of productivity and peace. The character to do right, even when it costs us our pleasures. The strength to stand up against immorality and greed wherever it raises its ugly head. The testimony of 21st century America is no. And that does not bode well for our grandchildren. For over 200 years, we have been routinely shocked to learn from historians just what our government was doing during all that time in the past. All that they were doing while they were telling us that everything was okay and giving us everything we wanted to have and tickling our ears with whatever it was we wanted really to hear. Do we really believe that Iran is negotiating with us over a nuclear capability? Do we really believe the U.S. will achieve success in that endeavor? As the Wizard of Oz once said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's the message of our State Department, of our White House, of our free press. Because the fix is in, and everybody can see it. Our government wants out of these negotiations. The negotiations themselves are really just stage dressing. The ship of state is floundering. The captain plays golf, and the stewards are guiding the vessel. No one really believes that our current president is making policy. The jokes about him being window dressing grow out of reality. This is a man with no experience, a man with no understanding of American values, no appreciation for American history. His team are actors playing the serious part of negotiators and competitors in a global environment. But their result tells the story. The American people do not believe our government is able to achieve anything positive in terms of foreign policy. Recent polls indicate 64% of Americans do not believe the negotiations will stop Iran from getting the bomb. Upwards of 75% of Americans want ISIS stopped. 41% want boots on the ground. So we need a new administration. No, we don't. A new administration would just be window dressing. We need a spiritual revival, a new cadre of people who will pray, of people who will sacrifice for what is good and right, sacrifice for the collective despite personal desire or preference. And we need people who will vote, which is a form of speech, which voting for that which is real, not window dressing, not just mere popularity. In America, the vote is a God-given responsibility, which we take lightly at our peril. And so the sort of change that we need is one that begins with the individual, when the individual begins to stand up. And the only question is that you?